di dalam mana-mana organisasi ada lapisan atas yang kadang-kadang berada di atas kerana kabel, bukan kerana kebolehan atau academic merit, ya, dia kerana kabel. Jadi dia akan sentiasa merasa khawatir, akan sentiasa rasa insecure apabila orang yang di bawah dia lebih pandai, lebih rajin, lebih jujur dan lebih berpotensi untuk naik satu hari nanti dan topple him over.
So first, powerful documentation. Then you notice this at an early stage. Dia macam cancer juga kan?
Yes. It's a silent killer. I
Yeah.
call it a silent killer.
Macam penyakit dalam company pula ni. Okay. So, let's say lah, this happens to someone else. And how do we guide people? Is there a symptom company yang, or does these companies yang pernah buat kesalahan begini, are they listed somewhere? Oh, ini macam blacklist untuk benda-benda begini. That branch or that boss or that, I don't know.
Kalau orang yang rajin baca cases, yang macam saya,
so you have a list?
in my head, yes.
Okay,
Over 15 years, inside here, I have thousands of cases. Orang yang rajin baca, because cases, the grounds ni is public documentation. So kalau rajin follow, kalau rajin baca, you can actually summarize in your head, because dia ada trend tu. Because this sort of behavior by the employer, it will not stop at one person.
Really?
Yeah. Kalau sudah memang budaya dia toxic, it will not stop at one employee. So kalau employee tu semua macam Mr. Marcus ni, kan, pergi report, when it goes to court, and then the court will pass down the award, and then they will release the grounds for the judgment, kan. You can plot a graph, or like a histogram or whatever. It's always the trend is always the same industry, the same bank, the same organization, the same company.
Same politics.
Similar.
So, okay, you won the case?
Yes.
You won the
in
case.
Industrial court. Yeah.
Congratulations. And this thing became a precedent for other people.
Yes.
But what happened to your colleagues? People yang pergi lunch with you, and do they get some of the blows kah? Adakah yang ini kawan si Marcus ni dulu?
That I don't know, because after I left,
You cut ties
yeah,
with them.
cut ties.
Oh, I hope they don't get. I mean, kalau yang kawan baik pun kesian kan.
Yeah. Ada juga case gitu lah.
The people up there yang ni lagi, next one. Oh my god.
Well, if you.
But is that happening?
It happens lah. It happens. Tapi kalau orang yang faham, kan, because this culture of menindas ni, and it's apparent. Benda ni orang tahu, orang sedar. Cuma sama ada dia tidak tahu hak dia, ataupun dia tahu tapi dia chose not to take action. Biar sajalah bah. Biar sajalah cari kerja lain, biar sajalah. Mau buat macam mana? Tiada rezeki di sana, carilah kerja lain. Ya, rezeki is one thing lah, tapi hak kita, nakkan kita mau biarkan diri kita dipijak-pijak? Sebab I always say this, ya. Kalau kita tidak bersuara, tidak menegakkan hak kita, nanti majikan itu akan terus meneruslah menindas. Stand up for your rights. And then di Malaysia ni kan, jangan fikir kalau mau pergi ke jabatan buruh, jabatan perusahaan tu mesti perhubungan perusahaan mesti mau ada peguam mahal-mahal. No. You can represent yourself in the IR department, you can even represent yourself in court.
You do that. You did that.
I engage a lawyer actually, but you can actually do that, right?
Yeah, you
yeah,
can.
You can.
Can.
I have checked with them.
Boleh.
They told me, boleh, you can
Boleh.
represent
You can
yourself.
represent yourself. That is the advantage of this country, because we have a separate court. This is not a civil court tau. This is an industrial court. It's a court of social equity. Court of equity and good conscience. Social legislation. You can represent yourself.
Okay.
Or you can hire a consultant like me. Not to represent, saya cuma boleh represent di mahkamah buruh sahaja. Tapi kalau IR department, ya untuk conciliation saya boleh represent. I have represented. Or sometimes I assist those whose cases have been referred to the industrial court. I have assisted claimants who represent themselves and they won.
How serious would a case be if you have to represent?
I represent anyone, because to me, whether you're an employer or an employee, always do the right thing.
Pangkat kecil kah, pangkat besar kah?
Tidak kisah.
Okay.
Always do the right thing. I also represent employers because there are employers who don't know any better. Kadang-kadang kerana nila setitik rosak susu sebelanga, kerana satu manager ataupun satu director yang begitu, the whole company punya nama sudah rosak. Ada juga begitu.
Then the company
Terpaksa bear the brunt of it lah, because it is their orang, their director or their GM, whatever. Tapi it's still their majikan. Majikan tu in the contract of employment is represented by the organisation. Yeah, of course lah, if they have any sense, they'll terminate people like this.
Marcus. Sorry, I'm jumping around here. So now that you've won the case and you've cut ties, and you're a public document sudah into the what happens now? Like, senang kah cari kerja with your name on it in the resume? Like, I know this guy. Adakah begitu?
Well, I think once the document is out in the public, it is accessible to everyone, even to the employer. Okay. So I did not pursue any aggressively in seeking employment actually, because at that time I was already age 53. So quite advanced already. So
Relax gitu lah.
Ya, relax gitu lah. So buat kerja sendiri-sendiri saja lah.
Apalah kau dapat kau menang kes? Ada duit ke apa begitu?
Well, based on the paper, I was rewarded about a few $100,000 lah.
From this company lah.
Yeah.
Compensation in lieu of reinstatement.
Based on the law lah actually.
Okay.
They would not
at least
reinstate him because, according to the judge, there was such a big deficit of trust between your employer and his employer and him. So they did not award reinstatement. They actually awarded him compensation in lieu of reinstatement.
It's good that they also acknowledge that there's a problem there.
They will look at it, yeah.
I'm fascinated to know that these things are not just technical but also emotional, psychological.
Exactly. It is quite emotional kind of things.
Yeah.
When you decided to take that decision, it is quite emotional and mentally exhaustive also, because you have to prepare, you have to go to the court, and you have to deal with the lawyer, and the dindang-dindang text between the lawyer and me. I have to go through it, and
Exhausting kan
quite
sometimes.
exhausting, very exhausting mentally.
But when it was, sorry lah if I say it's small, when it was like smaller things happening, kan, like for instance your parking lot, kita sudah the perks of having your own parking lot, kan?
Yeah.
Did you raise it up at that moment? Yang mana parking sah?
Yeah,
And did
of
they
course
take it seriously, or they were just like, alah parking saja bah? Like how was their
because
reaction?
the area is very congested, okay, very limited. So the moment you don't have any specified lot for you, it's very difficult for you to look for parking. You have to park somewhere else.
And to me, as a researcher, it's not just about the parking. Can you? They didn't even inform. They didn't inform you, right? when
They
took it
didn't
away?
inform me
They
actually.
just
Oh,
took it
it's not
away.
official.
Tidak, they didn't inform. So
suka-suka
imagine
dia,
how
okay,
he
that's right.
felt. So I, as a researcher, kan, this is one of the things I was fascinated, because when they took it away from him, they never informed him. So imagine he was the regional. Weren't you the regional manager?
I was the SME business head.
He was the SME business head. They took his
That's
money away from him.
something.
Memang lah.
At least parking lah, kan?
Soal hati juga
Kan?
kan.
Yeah.
Imagine how he felt as a long-serving employee, kan? And then now having attained such a high rank, and they did that to him. They didn't respect him. They didn't like pikir dia punya dignity. How? So that was my research, his voice. I can hear him being hurt in his voice.
So imagine if someone in your rank boleh kena tindas begini, what else people yang lower ranking officers yang
There
biasa-biasa.
we are. Constructive dismissal hurts, you can ask him.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Now, how do you feel?
Well, I have sort of put it behind me. I want to move on. So I feel fine.
Your case is 10 years, kan?
More than 10 years now.
2015 it was decided.
Yeah.
So this is the 10th anniversary of the case. How
Masih
apt.
baru betul.
Baru.
But we
Masih
have to
sakit
move.
hati
We have to
loh.
move on. So that's why I wanted to think less and less of those things. But after from that period until today, there are some managers coming to see me and getting advice. What should I do? Because they feel they are also being
Oh, there's reoccurrence.
yeah, there are. So I just
Then you
give-
say, oh, I charge by the hour. You're a consultant too now.
they ask me for advice what to do actually. So I just give my simple advice.
But no two cases are the same, kan?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Mm.
It will not be exactly the same. So.
Would it be different if you were a lady? Oh, knowing that it's SERATA, no.
I don't know the one. I don't know.
Would it affect? Lagi teruk kali.
Uh,
I'm just assuming lah.
the pain is the same.
Okay.
It's the same. It's the same.
I cannot imagine this thing is happening.
Let me tell you one more thing that will give you some food for thought.
Hmm.
I just recalled this about his case. You know when you communicated with your employer, and you tried to tell them, look, if you hate me so much, why don't you just pay me off? Kan?
Yeah,
What were you met with? You were met with a brick wall, right?
exactly.
What bodoh? This is the thing. let me give you as a lay person, okay? This is a sub-doctrine that I created in my PhD. I created two things in my PhD. One was a model. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the doctrine that I created. It's actually a sub-doctrine. You see, one of the triggers, I noticed when I studied so many cases, one of the triggers that makes people, that drives people to claim constructive dismissal is when the employer puts up a brick wall. How do you feel when you text someone, you WhatsApp someone, that person baca, ada blue tick tapi tidak reply? And probably a few more conversations like that kan. How do you feel? You feel like frustrated. Lain tau kau rasa. Apa salah saya? Kan? Why are you giving me this cold shoulder? Why? So imagine in the workplace, he's trying to be reasonable. He's trying to communicate to them, and they put up a brick wall. Bila you hantar surat, email semua tidak berbalas.
Yeah,
What
I think I remember there's an email that I
Yes,
given,
I remember it was in the court documents. So that is one of the things I picked out. And then when I looked at some other cases, I did find the brick wall. So I presented that brick wall to the examiner. Orang yang belum pernah melalui, dia tidak rasa. Dia rasa.
Betul.
So he's a real life, he can vouch for what I theorized in my thesis. The brick wall exists. It's your, you see, when we are, okay, in a relationship of employer and employee, we expect both parties to be, to discharge our contractual obligations, to be responsible for our roles, and to communicate if there's anything wrong. Okay? But when you try to communicate and your employer acts as if you don't even exist, like you're not worth his time, tengok sebelah mata pun tidak, how do you feel?
Cik hati ya.
Of course. Mengaus lah kan.
Betul.
I have not used the word mengaus for many years. I still remember the word mengaus. You see how this subject means to me. It means so much to me. I can't even remember the word mengaus.
That's really deep.
Yes.
Did you find out who did this to you? Is it like a whole system or just one person up there?
I believe it is a series of people.
Series of assholes. Siapa mau gerigitan loh?
Yeah.
Did you understood like why they did it? Did they give any reason, or we just hate you?
I think until today, I got the feeling that they did not disclose truthfully to me. I still got that gut feeling or strong belief that the reason that they gave to me is not
Strong enough.
Not the correct.
Not true.
Not true.
They lied through their teeth.
I kind of pity them right now because, I mean, you won the case. They're still sad about it. They're still bitter and grumpy somewhere. And I don't know.
I'm to a certain extent, I am happy that after I left the organization, those people that are involved, they are also not happy. They left the bank. So meaning there are some
Karma,
elements,
I guess.
Elements of as we call it, subtle kind of indirect kind of letting you go, actually.
If I'm not
Forcing.
wrong, one of the people who did it to you was called by the employer to become an employer's witness, kan? Masa tu?
For the employer.
Yeah. He was called to court kan as a witness.
There, yeah, there
Yes,
was, yeah.
kan.
Were some of them your acquaintance, friends ke apa? No backstabbing gitu lah.
I think the person that came to witness is the head of the division head for that SME
Oh,
segment.
okay. Wow, I feel like it's very Malaysian politics juga kadang-kadang. It feels like all these parti politik yang banyak drama gitu.
Memang ada.
Oh God.
You know why it is more impactful when it happens to senior management? Because orang bawah tengok. As a leader, you're supposed you're playing so many roles. You're supposed to be the subject matter expert. You're supposed to be the father figure. You're supposed to be somebody who is respected by your team. And tiba-tiba bila kau ditindas begitu sampai tidak ada air muka, and then orang bawah kau macam mana? Apa perception diorang?
I see this as like you're being an example and also like a tool for them to
Yes.
scare and provoke orang-orang di bawah. Like if this can happen to Marcus, then kau tu siapa?
Yeah.
So bagus kau ikut cara macam.
You see, sometimes CD ni, it happens only to the people who do their work well. Orang yang jujur, orang yang betul-betul buat kerja. It doesn't happen to pembodik and bootlickers. It happens to people who work hard, who are honest. Kenapa? Kerana orang lain akan rasa insecure. The top selalunya dalam organisasi, kalau yang di atas, ini akan meletup ini mic kalau saya cakap, tapi saya sebagai independent consultant, saya tidak majikan, saya cakap freely di dalam mana-mana organisasi ada lapisan atas yang kadang-kadang berada di atas kerana kabel, bukan kerana kebolehan atau academic merit, ya, dia kerana kabel. Jadi dia akan sentiasa merasa khawatir, akan sentiasa rasa insecure apabila orang yang di bawah dia lebih pandai, lebih rajin, lebih jujur dan lebih berpotensi untuk naik satu hari nanti dan topple him over. Kadang-kadang kita tiada niat, kita kerja because of our family, because kita suka itu kerja, kita bukan ada niat mau topple somebody. Tapi because orang di atas itu, dia tidak naik dengan cara yang betul, maka dia akan sentiasa takut bayang-bayang. Jadi those sort of people are the most likely to breach the employment contract and to cause or to compel an employee to walk out of his work, out of his job on constructive dismissal grounds. I do believe, when I studied Mr. Marcus' case, I do believe that he was one such person who was a diligent staff, who worked hard, and it was his hard work that makes him rise from the ranks. Okay, he wasn't a cable guy.
You didn't use cable to get the job in the first place lah. Apa
Purely-
UTK usaha
Purely based on
tekad
merit.
cable.
It's all based on merit. Yes.
Oi, saya yang sakit hati loh.
Ah.
Padahal sudah settle. Oh my god.
So the impact of it.
Can we open the questions for audience, Cik? Dua orang.
Boleh
Robert and
tanya lah
Fateh.
soalan.
You guys have any questions?
When is it a good idea to start documenting what happens at the company?
So Robert is asking when is a good idea, when is a good time to start documenting.
Tanya yang berpengalaman.
Yeah.
I think as soon as you feel like you are being sidelined, you can start documenting it already
How soon did you start it?
immediately. Because you only have 30 days, right?
Oh.
You only have 30
60.
days. Sorry?
60.
Oh, 60, yeah.
60.
60 days.
60 days to document.
To complain.
Yeah.
Oh.
To from the day it begins, okay, you felt that there's already elements of demotion, elements of change in the scope of duties, then you have to start thinking about it already, and you have to document it already, and you have 60 days.
To lodge a complaint to the IR.
Yeah, you have 60 days to make a decision whether to stay on or leave.
Oh.
Uh,
So let's say today is day one, then your boss marah-marah, humiliate you without any reason. So you have on that day sampai the 60th day to lodge a complaint or to leave the company. Begitu. Is that how I understand it?
No. It's not time bound begitu. Dia macam ni. Okay, CD ni kan, because of the very subjective nature of CD, dia tidak ada time frame.
Okay.
It could be over a number of years. It could be months. It could be anything.
Betul.
Okay, like kalau macam salary issue. Bukan Ryan Air, apa nama dia tu, yang the airline yang baru beroperasi.
Oh yeah,
ni.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the pilots were not paid salary,
yeah.
but they were promised not paid. Some of them met the brick wall also. Bila ditanya bila mau bayar, ndak ada reply. Of course lah, orang marah. At least kan, kalau kau reply, the company is facing hardship, maybe what we can do is we can pay your claims first, and then we will pay salary. Ini buat bodoh. So after 3 months, of course, people will leave because number one, salary not paid is a clear breach of contract. Number two, you do not communicate. Macam kau tidak respect kau punya pekerja. So there's no mutual respect. Apa lagi? Claim lah. Tapi kadang-kadang constructive dismissal can take years.
So what is the 60 days?
For you to leave, okay, 60 days is from the date of you leaving the company
Oh, okay.
and lodging a complaint.
Okay,
Cannot be
okay,
more than
okay,
60 days. Kalau 61 days pun tidak boleh sudah. Kau sudah bangas, kau punya aduan tu, kau bangas, my goodness. My sabahan is coming out of me. Kau sudah bangas itu isu, more than 60 days, sudah tidak boleh complain.
It's all coming back, huh? Answer the question? Any more?
How will I know, sebab kita orang Sabah kan, kita cakap kalau kau ada komplain kau bawa pergi jabatan buruh kan, but sometimes jabatan buruh doesn't forward you to JPP.
Sebab dia lain padang, lain belalang. Lain.
Oh, Robert was asking, sorry, just for the record. As a Sabahan, apa tu? As a Sabahan,
Kita selalu cakap bawa pergi jabatan buruh.
bawa pergi jabatan buruh.
Ya, betul.
But tidak kena bawa forward to
Tetap
JPP.
semestinya kena bawa pergi JPP lah.
Oh, okay. And your answer was lain apa?
Lain padang, lain belalang.
Okay.
Okay, jabatan buruh dengan jabatan perhubungan perusahaan, okay, different departments under different acts of parliament. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Then macam ni, constructive dismissal, like in Mr. Marcus' case, is only dealt with by the IR department, industrial relation, jabatan perhubungan perusahaan. It is not under the purview of jabatan buruh. If you go to jabatan buruh, they will not entertain you. They won't say that's the way to the IR department. They will just say, oh, ini bukan dalam bidang kuasa kami. Kecuali kalau kau menuntut gaji.
Oh.
Gaji is under JDK. Jadi kan, so please,
Tidak dibayar lah.
tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, if you want to lodge a complaint, please lodge to the correct department. Jadi kalau, okay, kenapa orang tidak dibayar gaji, dia menuntut constructive dismissal, TIR, because dia mau reinstatement. Primarily, dia mau reinstatement. Am I right?
Yeah.
Reinstatement. Hanya apabila tidak boleh diberi reinstatement, tidak boleh reinstate because there's no mutual trust, then they go for financial compensation. Dulu lah, before 2022 I think, there's no choice. Even if your case escalates to the industrial court, you still have to pray. They call it pray in court. You still have to pray for reinstatement, and then the judge will decide if reinstatement is not the suitable remedy, then they will give you compensation. But now, at trial stage, you actually can request, you can pray for financial compensation directly without asking for reinstatement. Di conciliation, IR department masa runding damai, you kena minta reinstatement. Borang P1, dia memang ada tulisan lah. Tapi if your case escalates to the industrial court, you can actually directly ask for financial compensation. Boleh. So, soal constructive dismissal kalau tidak dibayar gaji. Okay, kalau kau tidak mau reinstatement dan kau tidak mau go through the rigmarole of having to go to the industrial court, you just want your salary, itu kau boleh tuntut di CTK. Sebab failure to pay salary, wages ni kan is under the purview of JTK, sebab dia di bawah kalau di Sabah Ordinan Buruh lah, kalau di sana Employment Act, kalau di Semenanjung.
Understand?
Yes. So tidak membayar gaji and unlawful deduction of salary, unlawful withholding of salary, kalau di Semenanjung Akta Kerja is section 23. Kalau di sini saya tidak ingat section berapa, tapi Ordinan Buruh ada.
Last question.
Okay.
Is it advisable to follow Marcus's steps and document everything and forward the case to yourself, or when should we engage the services of someone like Nasara Consult?
Is it
Advisable.
to follow the steps of Marcus? Apa yang dia buat the whole 9 yards, or to get representation?
To engage the services of someone like Nasara Consult.
To engage services of someone like Nasara Consult.
I think it's if you already know your rights, if you already know what sort of trouble you're in, like him, he already knew what it was all along, what kind of disease was coming towards him. He knows that. So if you already know, then yes, you can start documenting. But even he hired a lawyer, and even he consulted a lawyer even before he decided to sue the company. So if you know, that is good. But if you don't know, and you are in doubt whether you have a case or you don't have a case, then you can talk to consultants like us. You can talk to consultants like us, or you can talk to your union representative, Kesatuan Pekerja kan. You can talk to us and get some advice whether you have a case or not. Selalunya kalau orang tanya macam kami ni, because we're quite prominent on LinkedIn, selalu orang kan tanya boleh menang kan tak boleh menang. I say that's not the right question. The question is whether you have a case in the first place or not. If you have a case, good. If you don't have a case, please don't resign. Because some people kan bila kena marah sikit saja sudah mengaus, sudah sakit hati. Kalau saya resign, saya boleh claim ke constructive dismissal. Saya bilang, okay, I have to look at your chronology first. So that's why it's if you
Padahal memang salah dia pun.
Kadang-kadang ya memang salah dia. Tapi siapa yang mau akun salah? Semua orang pun bilang dia sendiri betul. Jadi
Adakah cases begitu?
apa?
Memang salah dia, memang dia ni egoistik.
Memang banyak.
Dia buat
Memang.
CD punya case.
Ada.
Wow.
Ada.
Ini play victim lah ni.
Oh ya, ada.
Oh my god.
Trust me,
Okay.
I have worked with these
This is
sort of
like a whole
people.
kind of worms.
Ada. I have worked with these sort of people. Dia
Buang masa je.
apa nak buang masa, and then they will come to conciliation with like macam berkati-kati lah dokumen dia, berkati tau, sebab dia ikat macam ikat ketam, berkati-kati dokumen dia. They have been keeping not just a chronological account of what happened, but also their pay slips, their claim slips, their whatever slips, apa company kasih dia file. It's like arsenal of ammo. So in the event that they think the company menindas, walaupun tidak menindas, they will come with their ketam sekati lah.
Padahal all those ketam sekati tu is in favor of the company.
Yalah, but you begini kurang 50 sen ni saya punya overtime ni, kau kira kurang. Kenapa kau tidak tanya itu hari? Ini sudah 3 tahun baru kau mau tanya. Biasanya orang begini kan, dia smart, tapi dia punya smart tu dia salah guna. Tapi memang ada orang yang begini ni, memang ada.
Faham.
Ada tu. Orang yang wasting the court's time pun ada.
Do you have any advice for people out there yang going through this, like the before, the during, the after, like how do you keep yourself sane? Ini barang macam boleh gila.
Well, I think in the event that you are in that scenario, I think you got to talk with somebody lah who can provide guidance and can lead you to the proper decision making because serta merta letak jawatan macam tak betul juga kan. Nanti tiada kerja lagi kan. So you have to make a proper decision lah. So talk it out with someone who is more knowledgeable lah in this case. Tapi dari segi emosi, dari segi emosi itu memang adalah memang perlu dikawal lah.
Understand. Wow, okay.
But it would be good if doctor can come up with some kind of a guide lah. A book with regards to constructive dismissal, so that everyone can have a.
I have a feeling this is not just one episode here.
Yeah.
Kan? macam ada
Everybody
saga.
is expecting me to write a book. So I think my problem is when I write the book, I want it to be something that people can understand and apply.
Yeah.
Tidak boleh terlampau technical,
Yes.
tidak boleh terlampau akademik juga. Jadi itulah
Kalau
kepentingan
orang macam saya langsung nak faham ni.
itulah kepentingan saya ni, how to make people understand. You know, it took me so long to even get my thesis supervisor to understand. Last kali mau mencari, when I did my masters, they couldn't find an examiner for 1 year because nobody understood what I wrote. And then when I did my PhD, the examiner was from Australia because again, it's so difficult for people to understand. To me, it's not difficult. That's why in the industry, I'm called the kambing hitam. I'm very unorthodox, but I think my field of study, if I get to be able to talk about it or to write about it in layman's terms, I think it will help a lot of people. I mean, this is what I want to do. I just want to help people to know their rights and stand up for it. You've got nothing to lose.
Betul?
Jangan, this is just a job. I know it's your perut nasi, tapi is it worth trading your sanity? And all kinds of penyakit can come if you tolerate this sort of thing. You know, sakit jantung, high blood pressure, mental anguish, mental illness.
Oh, last question. Soalan bodoh before we end. We have all these Gen Z, millennials, Gen XY lah apa semua tu kan. Do you see a difference between these generations yang Marcus age, senior, my age, less senior, younger than me? Do you find them looking for...
You're asking me as a HR practitioner? No. I say no. They're all the same. Because
Oh.
I'm a Gen X.
Okay.
When I was 21, I behaved like the Gen Zs of today. And orang, when I started working, was 1997. Orang pun bilang astaga ini budak. Yeah, I was a very astaga inducing person. Because I was very outspoken. I was very blunt. Kalau tidak betul, saya bilang tu tidak betul. But kau junior mah, kau baru start kerja. Siapa mau dengar cakap kau? Tapi sekarang kalau saya sudah jadi maha guru, saya bilang tidak tu tidak, saya bilang tu tidak betul, tidak
Lesen
betul.
kau besar sial.
Yeah. So sekarang ni, now that I'm at this level, I also remember when I first started, right? Everybody criticized me and my cohorts, my kawan-kawan yang sezaman, ya, kami semua pun dibeza-bezakan juga, dimarah-marah. So sekarang ni saya sebagai otai sudah tidak boleh marah budak-budak. Pada saya semua sama. All the generations are all the same. And I can handle the Gen Z as well. You know, whatever skibidi things that they do. Skibidi.
Ini full research orang ni.
Skibidi things that they do. I can tolerate it and I can accept it.
I guess if all the generations are the same, then sadly companies out there are still the same juga lah.
Of course. Of course. So, penindas juga move up. Kalau dulu, kalau zaman Mr. Marcus, penindas dia yang from the baby boomers punya generation. Sekarang generation X, my generation, bila sudah naik jadi C-suite, pun jadi penindas juga. Kalau sudah memang begitu.
And the weapons are different.
Of course.
Social media.
But
Stuff
this
like
is the reason why the Gen Zs also need to be wary, you know, in their pursuit to be creative and independent thinkers. They must also understand their rights and their responsibilities in terms of their contract of employment.
Wow. Any last words before we wrap up this so-called episode?
Well, as I always say, do the right thing, even if you have to be the black sheep. Just do the right thing.
Painful, eh? Mr. Marcus?
I think no more.
It's nice to know that he is like a very good example and he has nothing to say.
That's the reason why he's inspiring.
Kan?
He doesn't say much, he does a lot.
Do what I do.
Or maybe one of the things that probably Mr. Marcus would agree with me as well. If you have plans to take up a constructive dismissal case against your employer, don't discuss it with your colleagues. Betul?
Yeah, betul I think.
Keep it discreet.
Because it involves a lot of...
And you cannot
Politics
trust
kan?
anyone.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
betul.
Keep it to yourself and your lawyer only.
Until the day comes.
Or your consultant or whoever it is, or your union rep lah. Yes. Until the judgment of your case comes out. The grounds comes out, then it's public knowledge. But before that, when you want to take up the case, the what's going on in your case, the developments of your case, don't share it with anyone.
Habis?
Habis.
Habis. I told you this episode is going to be life changing. Sangat ayo.
Ini pun baru tip of the iceberg.
Kan, I know. Saya mau go into deep.
You know,
Recording?
you could have
No.
tamat
I
sudah.
just want to end first. I'm gonna break this into 2 episodes so senang sikit mau digest because it's a lot. It's a lot. You're gonna find this in Spotify, in YouTube, and also a lot of snippets in TikTok. So, thank you, Dr. Tahirah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marcus Wong.
Thank you.
This has been a very, very adulting episode of Sip Sip. Selalu bodoh ya this one. But this one is really good. Thanks to SERATA, Nasara Consult,
Thank you.
and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Ciao. Bye.